Okay, everybody. We all know what that is. That's one of the coolest trees on earth, the California redwood. This tree has the capacity, the ability to be the tallest tree in the world. In fact, it is the tallest tree in the world on average and for ultimate height of the largest specimen. This tree here, this tree that was planted before I came onto the scene here at my home in Lafayette, and by the people who built this gate originally, and people that owned the property before me. Now, as you can see, I built a really cool mailbox structure because everybody needs a mailbox, right? And it's probably the prettiest mailbox anywhere that I know of. These are all little pieces that are left over from patios that we would build, and I stored them and kept them for many, many years in buckets, and then we finally pieced them all together. You can get rock like that for free generally from masons, and you see what we did. We would stack the rock up and mortar it lightly, mortar it in the back. You can see the mortar in there deep, and then you have sort of a weak shell. In the middle of that, you have a cavity. You fill that up full of really good concrete and you vibrate it in, and you end up with a very strong structure. And that's assuming you built a really good foundation, which we did, all reinforced. Now, I knew to do that, well, then you have the custom cut pieces that I got. You get one nice straight edge, then you can cut the rest and make your little pyramid there. And of course, there's always the imperfections in life. This guy broke, and then we put him back together with some glue and mortar there. And then we got these custom pieces here that I put in, and this should be good for 1,000 years because it's inert and the termites can't eat it. There's a mailbox structure over there, and it's pretty and all, but it's made out of wood, and ultimately it will rot away. But this never will. It's like the little piggies. Remember? The straw guy, his house blew away real quick. And the wood one, it lasted a little longer. But of course the brick one, the big bad wolf couldn't blow down. Same goes with stone mailbox structures. I built it really strong, knowing that there was the largest tree in the world right behind it that I did not select the location on for this plant, and hoped that it would just stay dwarfed, seeing that we were not watering it. But it's obviously gotten really happy, and now it is being a bully and it is tearing apart. It's moving the whole entire foundation of this unit. Not only is it doing that, I'm noticing fresh cracks in the, you can see these cracks are extremely fresh. I just noticed those today. It's actually pushing through here. You can tell the cracks are fresh because they're sharp edged. They're not rounded off. The tree is pushing on the fence, pushing it that way. Everything's out of level. And then after it gets done exerting its forces on those items, it's eventually going to come over here and blow apart pipes, the electrical meter and supply system to that gate, all kinds of cable facilities that are in the ground here. The water pipe that runs through here will ultimately get pushed, and the meter will be compromised from the roots that will come over surely in time. And the main electrical service to our house is here. And it used to be level, and it is no more. It's been pushed up a little bit, invariably by roots from the tree. Now, I love redwood trees, don't get me wrong. I really like the way this looks. However, it has to go. Now, in preparation for that, years ago, I planted a beautiful madrone. And here is the madrone here. And it's a really beautiful tree. I think we have some videos on this one. But the moral of the story here, kids, and I have another madrone on the other side, so they'll fill the gap. There's a madrone right over there that's really starting to take off. It's going to turn into a big, beautiful tree, and even arguably much prettier than a more common redwood tree. But the moral of the story here is that you really need to be careful as to where you select a location for a redwood tree. Lots of people plant these as temporary hedges for privacy for them from their neighbors. I planted lots of these trees, and they wanted like the tallest thing they could get from a nursery right away. And I'm like, well, tallest thing you can get from a nursery right away would be the tallest tree in the world that's currently in a 15-gallon plant. And so we would plant these trees, a lot of them out in Blackhawk where people are really close together. I don't know what's going to happen to that neighborhood. They're going to have hundreds, thousands of these trees getting huge. Someday they'll be falling over in big storms. Now, you would think, oh, well, you know, it's only the roots that are causing this problem of displacement and exerting forces around them. So, Gary, why don't you just cut the roots? Just cut the roots around the tree, right? Well, tallest tree in the world has a design by nature and evolution. The only way it can stand that tall and exert the forces, the lever of forces, the taller something gets, the more lateral force is placed on it, you get a lever effect, which greatly multiplies the force to push something over. And if something's 360 feet tall, then you better bet it's evolved to have some sort of support structure underneath the tree to hold it in place. And that's true with all redwoods. The root systems are proportional to the trunk and the mass above grade in such a way as to hold the tree in place and buttress it so it will not fall over. And so once you start cutting those roots, look out on a windy day, everybody, because that tree is going to come find you. And you can see it's actually leaning that way just a tad, which means it would probably fall over the mailbox onto the street, hopefully when someone's not there, because the strong winter storms come from the west, from over there, the Berkeley Hills, and they come across and they will try to knock this tree over this way. So anyway, I'm really sad to see the tree go, but it must go. And, you know, it was a beautiful tree for a long time. Sorry, you know, there'll be many more. Now, the thing is, too, with this tree is that it causes lots of seedlings to come up constantly. And you need to be on guard, on vigil for those seedlings, because they also will take off and get really big. Plants that are grown from seed on their own tend to be much more vigorous and much more aggressive than trees that were planted from containers. So keep that in mind anytime you have a redwood. And, you know, the best time, if you think you need to get rid of your redwood, the best time to cut it down is immediately, because it just gets bigger and bigger and bigger and causes more damage and liability. The bigger the tree, the larger the liability is in case it falls over and does something bad that you don't want it to do to either yourself or someone else. So anyway, I'm sorry, Mr. Tree, but we're going to take all those beautiful nutrients and we're going to chop them up in little tiny pieces, and you will feed my avocado trees in the form of mulch, and you'll live on forever in the avocado trees. That's it.